to my beginners tips and technique drawing series, and today I'm going to share with you about the importance of choosing the right kind of sketchbooks or sketch pads when you're starting out with your drawing journey. So before I jump into the too much details about the sketchbooks, I would like to share what I use for my practices. The very first one which I love is the Newsprint big 18 by 28 sketch pad. And the second one is this is another newsprint sketch pad which I use for my travel purposes when I am in the bus or something like that and do a quick sketches or a quick study or even my line practices. The third one I use this as this is a cartridge based sketch pad, a sketchbook, but this I use it for even for sketching, and also I call this as my idea book, where I jot down all my thoughts into it. And the fourth one I use is this sketch pad, which is a software and also not that rough, but it's just to jot down again my quick thought process and my ideas for my next project. So these are the four I use. I use many more for bigger practices for my paintings and for other things, but for in the beginning stages I have always started out with these, but and I recommend everybody to start out with newsprint paper first, and then this big size or A3 size of at least A3 size of newsprint sketch pad. And if you are like you can even start in the very first few days, like 1 or 2 days. You can even use your newspaper if you're having a hard time finding a newsprint, or you have to figure out where to get newsprint pads, because nowadays as the local newspaper business is going down, the newsprint paper is also not available in our local stores. You have to go to a special art supply store to get actually the newsprint. I have myself have struggled a few times to find a good, especially a big size newsprint paper pads. So if you really want to get that one, then you have to go to a art store, or like for artists, the supply store for artists. Only there you will find this kind of a newsprint paper. And if while you are searching for it, I would suggest you can even use a smooth, not very glazed one, but if you get some newspapers at home for practicing your initial assignment, which is lines or just practicing your wrist and elbow movements or shoulder movements, just collect those newspaper and clip it, and then so just keep drawing the random strokes on top of that newspaper itself. And why it is absolutely important to start with the big newsprint pad. First, newsprint is not expensive compared to the cartridge or fine papers. Most of the beginners artists, they are super excited to start, and then they end up buying a lot of expensive supplies. And I personally feel that when you're starting out, you have to loosen up some of the muscles to really get the hold of fluid drawings. So it's very similar to the dance practices you go or you start a new exercise or a yoga class where our body is quite stiff, and then before we do a warm-up sessions and to make our body more fluid, and eventually our muscles get really relaxed and fluid, and then we jump into we can do a more concentrated work and we can go for a finer paper. So similarly, when you are starting out, you will be doing lots of line drawings, lots of forms, lot of shapes, and for that you need some cheaper paper, not an expensive paper, because it is very it feels very bad when you throw or when you fill those papers in 1 week. You are done with the sketchbook, and that sketchbook costed you so much. So it's absolutely important to not to waste a lot of money on your initial stages while you're learning your drawing practices. And then second thing is why I prefer the size. This size is also absolutely important. This gives us enough room to move our wrist and our elbow and our shoulder movements, because in the beginning we only know how to write, which is mark making expressions, but it's like very stiff expression, and our only little of these finger movement happens. Not even, we don't use our 360 degree of this wrist movement, and forget about this movement and forget about this kind of a movement. So when you are working with a bigger sketchbook, then it gives us opportunity to do that, whereas if you're working with a smaller business, I will still do it, like even for writing it, even for even for doing my lines drawing, I will just use my little, I still use my elbow movements and all that, but then it's restricted because of the size. So it brings a fluidity, and when we are drawing it from A to B, it just gives us enough room to build our and make our muscles very strong. And the third point is about the space. The space what we have in a bigger sketchbook or what we have in this, it also limits the smaller sketchbook pads. It limits our ability to think or to expand on our thoughts. So normally what I do is when I walk around this setup in my studio, so if I have drawn some kind of shape in my sketch pad, in a bigger sketch pad, I have lots of room around here, and I am continuously looking at it. And when I'm walking in and out or around this sketch pad or around my easel, then I'm like looking around this, my shape and all that, and my brain is continuously evaluating my own practice to my own work. And it's just when we are drawing, we keep it for some time, and then we keep looking at it. We also learn silently through that. So when I have so much of a room, and when I drew this, then I can, okay, maybe I expand something up here and like this, or maybe I expand something like this, and then I have a lot of room around it, which helps me to build and think creatively. And also I see my own mistakes when I am observing it for quite some time. So it's always for me, even till now, I always keep my sketchbook on like this, and I really do my my like this kind of sketches. I always I am doing it continuously. I build the sketch like that, and just by walking, just as is like 15 to 10 minutes of sketch of mine, some thought comes in and I just draw maybe something like this, and then I draw other part of it, then I think, I evolve my drawing through this, and also evaluate my practices out of this way. And I don't feel guilty about using like expensive sketchbook paper, because when we are drawing, we have to buy a lot of expensive material, and our monkey mind always tells us, oh my god, you're wasting so much paper, it's expensive, blah blah blah. So to stop that monkey mind noise, it's always good to start with newsprint. Not only that, newsprint is actually an excellent paper. The feel of the newsprint is excellent. And with the charcoal or even with the graphite, it's very easy to work with it. To conclude this video, so this is like the size is important. The space around you, the bigger size is the better. The quality of the paper is important, and make sure it's not expensive to buy. And so I think that's all for now, and I hope this video was helpful for you. If you like my video, please share and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching it.